Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining us for today's Webinar Wednesday, and this is brought to you as always by UK University Search. Today we have a special focus webinar for you, which is going to be presented by the University of East Anglia. Today's webinar is for those of you who are looking at starting university this September, so September 2020. So you might currently be in year 13, or you might be a mature student who's looking to go along to university this September. We know that the cancellation of exams this year and the new predicted grades system has probably made you a bit worried about results day this year, which is completely understandable, but you don't need to be worried at all. What we're going to do today is help you plan out your options, so you know what you're going to do if you're not happy with your predicted grades or if they're even better than you expected. And then you'll be able to go into results day with a clear plan of what to do, no matter what those results come out as. So the University of East Anglia are going to be talking you through all of your options today. So they're going to be breaking down clearing, adjustment, deferrals, and talking about some of the differences we might expect to see into admissions this year. We'll also be dedicating a lot of time at the end of the session to answering your questions. So if you do have any questions about going to university this year, whether that's about what's going to happen on results day, whether it's what is clearing, what is adjustment, how do I get in touch with people to apply through clearing, what's the best way to do my clearing research, you can just pop them through to us and we'll try our best to answer them all at the end of the session today. So if you're watching on Zoom, if you click on the Q&A button that's at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to type in a question and our representatives from UEA will either answer them directly to you by texting back a response, or we'll have them answered at the end of the session live today. If you're watching on YouTube, then you'll see down the side of your screen, there's a thing called live chat. Our representatives will be monitoring that all day today. So if you want to pop a question in there, then feel free to do so. Someone will get back to you and let you know that we've passed that along to our representatives, and we'll try and answer that at the end of the day as well. So please be aware if you are posting a question on YouTube that the YouTube chat is monitored. So we will be reporting any inappropriate content to your school or college. So make sure that you're popping questions in there that are really relevant, that are polite, and we will pass them on to our representatives at UEA. If you're looking to do some more clearing research alongside this webinar, then you can log into our virtual fair, which is open until the 17th of July. There's over 100 different universities, colleges and training providers on there, and they've got lots of different resources on there to help you find out what you want to do if you're starting September university. And we also have another webinar which is going to be taking place next week, and this is about student life and 2020 freshers. So if you are looking at going to university this September and you're a little bit confused about what Freshers Week is going to look like, moving to university, what your courses are going to look like in terms of studying, whether you'll need to do some online learning as well as going into university for seminars and lectures, then make sure to sign up for that webinar next week, as it's going to be a really useful one for any 2020 freshers. So to sign up for that, you just need to head over to our website. That's www.ukuniversitysearch.com, and you'll see the purple webinars button at the top. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can just click subscribe to our channel. That's UK University Search. And if you hit the little bell, then you'll be able to be notified whenever we go live every week. You can also check out all of our past webinars. So we did one a little while ago called Life at University. So if you have any questions about how to budget your money whilst you're at university, what the social life and the societies you can get involved in, then you'll be able to find all of that out on our Life at University webinar, which is available on YouTube, so you can live stream that anytime and catch up. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we're going to pass over to UEA, and they're going to talk you through clearing, adjustment deferrals, results day and 2020 admissions. So let's get started. I'm going to pass you over now.
Hi, can you hear me? And can you see me? Brilliant. Okay, I'm just super duper. I'm just going to see, I don't know how to share my screen, unfortunately, on here. I don't know if my colleague could share share our screen for us, the slides that I've got. So just bear with me, sorry. This is the beauty of doing things on Zoom. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll just explain what it is that I'm going to talk about today. So thank you for the introduction. My name's Alex, and I'm the Head of Admissions at the University of East Anglia. And I work with all my colleagues throughout the year to help get all the applications in, make all the decisions, and believe it or not, now we are preparing, even though we are in June, for August the 13th and clearing. So at UEA, we work, we have a telephone call centre, and we also have live chat on the 13th of August, and we open up from 8 AM on that morning. So I'll just explain as we go through preparation for how we get to that point, and then the sorts of things that can happen to you on those days. Let's just see if I've got the slides. Where we are at the moment is that if you find yourself in Youcast and you haven't yet got your you've either declined all your places or you haven't yet got a place, but you are in the Youcast system, you can absolutely use Youcast Extra, and you can use Youcast Extra until the 4th of July. And then from the 4th of July, the universities switch over to clearing, and that runs all the way through to September. Well, end of September, beginning of October. So I think we've got some slides, which is fantastic. So we just need, so I've explained who I am, I've explained what Youcast Extra is, and now we'll move on to clearing and adjustment. Okay, so on the next slide, we should see a circle with lots of different bits of information on. Oh, not quite. Let's just have a look at those dates. So on the 30th of June, as I say, new students thinking about going into clearing will absolutely do that. And then on the 5th of July, we have International Baccalaureate Results Day. And at the University of East Anglia, we'll be available on that day to answer any queries from students, and we will do that using live chat, email, and we'll be at the end of the line. From the 6th of July, if you've already got your results and you're looking for a place up until the 13th of August, you can absolutely call universities. But also significantly, from the 6th of July, both Youcast and most universities will display all of their vacancies. So that's a great time to do some preparation work. If you've got, if you're thinking about maybe this isn't, you know, the university you've chosen as your firm and insurance choice isn't for you, then absolutely you can start to have a look around, have a bit of a shop and see what you think might be available on the 13th of August from 8 AM onwards. So 13th of August, that's when most of the students will get their BTEC, A-level results, Cambridge Technicals, and then the following week is when the GCSE results come out. Just one little change that Youcast have made. Some of you who have got your offers might see from universities that they're saying you have to get your results in by the 31st of August. Youcast have actually changed that date to the 7th of September. So that deadline is where if you haven't met the academic conditions, i.e. you haven't provided the results or we haven't received them from the exam boards, the universities might not be able to accept you for 2020. However, I can only reassure you that if we're getting around, you know, to the 7th of September, all universities that have got outstanding decisions on student applications will have got in touch with you. So don't worry too much about that, but it's just to note a slight change from Youcast. So here we go. Let's have a look at what might happen at 8 AM on results day. This is a really busy slide, but what it is a prompt really for me just to take you through all the different scenarios. So I'm just going to take you back and just reassure you really that yes, we are in a very unusual year. However, a lot of what we're doing is very much the same. So the same deadlines, the same kind of process. And from that point of view, I feel very confident that both UCAS and the universities, the schools and everybody will be there to provide you with the support. I myself have conducted, I think it's my 15th clearing. And if you think it only happens once a year, that is showing my age slightly. But what I can say is that actually a lot of the preparation, a lot of what the universities are doing, a lot of the dates and everything is very, very similar to previous years. Indeed, when it comes to the results that we'll get from the exam boards. Again, we've been very much involved and helping to consult on the way in which the exam boards qualifications have been assessed. And from our point of view, we feel that the process, given that you haven't in most cases been able to take your exams, it is nonetheless a really robust and good way in which we can get your grades. To reassure you even more, I at UEA, along with many colleagues across the UK, will also be very understanding of the situation. And I think there will be a lot of flexibility at results time, particularly when it comes to students that have chosen the university as their firm choice. I think given that we'll be looking through this through the what I call the COVID lens, we understand and appreciate that your time in the last few months has been really quite unusual, and those sorts of things will be taken into account. There will still be some competitive courses, medicine, architecture. You know, there are some still out there that may need to be a little bit stricter on how many places, because they've got restricted places. But nonetheless, I think at the heart of what every university is doing at the moment is to make sure we can be as flexible as possible to accept as many students as we can. If anything, this year provides you all with a lot of opportunity. I think I'm going to hazard a guess here, but I think this will be the year where there is more than ever many places out there in clearing. So if things don't quite pan out for you with your firm or insurance choice, I really think that there will be a lot of opportunity. And if you want to come and study at a uni this year, that I have no doubt that you'll be able to do that. Okay, so that's a little bit of the background, but let's take you, fast forward you a few months to the 13th of August, and you open up your Youcast track at 8 o'clock and you see various different scenarios playing out. The most simple one and the easiest one for everyone to understand is if you've already got an unconditional place and you've chosen it as firm, it probably already does say, but in essence, you're into the university of your choice. If you were conditional firm and you meet or exceed the offer, and in many cases, you might find that you haven't met the offer, but you are still accepted, you should just see congratulations and you're in. So that's no problem at all. In some cases, you might have put your conditional firm choice down. So let's say you put the University of Nowhere as your conditional firm, and you put UEA as your insurance. Let's assume University of Nowhere decides that they can't accept you, but UEA can. You might see unconditional firm at UEA, and it means that you've been accepted by your insurance choice. So they're the two most straightforward things to happen. There can be a situation where you can see your place, but it hasn't yet got a decision on it. So you might still look like your conditional firm. And there's a few reasons for that. one of the things that can happen every year, this isn't any different, but it might be that there was just a problem in getting one of your results through via the exam boards. So it might be that the university hasn't been able to accept you, and they will be making every effort to get in touch with you just to find out what happened with that exam result, and then they would accept you. But it's quite rare that happens now. The second thing that might happen is that you might not have met the grades for a certain course at, let's say, UEA, but we can provide you with an alternative course. So let's give you an example. Let's say you got BBB as an offer to do biological sciences at UEA, but then you get CDE. Let's say, for example. Now, we might be flexible and still be able to accept you on the biology course, or we might decide that although we can't accept you on that, we do have a foundation year programme, and we might offer you that as an alternative. And of course, because you love the university so much and you still want to go, you might choose to accept that, but the power is in your hands. You might decline it on the day, and there's no time limit to this. You can literally do it from 8 AM onwards. So you might decline it, or you might accept it, and then your place is secure. Most universities like UEA will try to reach out to you in the first hour or so to explain what that alternative offer is. And then the last thing that would happen, but I really hope that universities won't do this to you, we certainly don't, but it might be that they're just holding on to make a decision because they haven't yet decided if they can take you or not. If that's happening, if you literally can't, you're not sure in any of these reasons what's going on, then I recommend that you do call or live chat the university as soon as possible. In some circumstances, you might feel that you're not happy with the results that you have been awarded, and you might go through a process of looking to do an appeal. Now, the appeals for A-levels this year and for the other qualifications are slightly different. It's more of a statistical check to make sure that all the process was followed. Should be quite swift, but nonetheless, you might decide that you want to appeal. It also might be that you have got the grades that you think you need to get to the university, but for whatever reason, the university has made your place unsuccessful. Again, the best thing to do is to call them up and say, could I just check, is this absolutely the final decision, or is there an alternative course? Just try to engage with them as quickly as you can to understand exactly why it was that you couldn't get into the university. But you have to be really careful. You have to balance that up with how quickly you move on, or indeed even better, simultaneously, you're also looking for places in clearing, because they're quick. They're really good opportunities, but they can go. Some students might decide that actually they've got their place, but for whatever reason they decide, no, I'm going to either do a full year of retakes, or you might choose to use what we're calling the autumn series to take the exams for the A-levels that you've taken. The autumn series, I suspect, won't be used by many. However, the issue around the autumn series is that some universities, including UEA, will have started the academic year. So the probability of you being able to join the course in the same year is quite small. You might have to look for whether or not a university has a January start, or indeed you wait till September 2021. Then coming on to the last few bits, it could be that unfortunately your firm and insurance choice haven't been able to accept you, and then you find yourself in Youcast track in clearing. So from 8 AM, you can pretty much call or live chat or fill out forms for any university. Best thing to do is just go to the university homepage, or just Google basically, the vacancies, get in touch with them. And then you'll find, if you have a piece, sort of a notepad and pen, you've got all of your technology in front of you, hopefully not using Zoom like me, but it will be mostly on live chat and things. And have it to hand with you your A-levels, your A-level results and the subjects, anything else that you might have taken. So, for example, you might have an extended project qualification. Also, surprisingly, you might get asked for your GCSE results. So again, just in advance, it's worth just noting those down. There's a few admin details like what's your Youcast personal ID number. Those sorts of things are the kind of things that you might be expected to be asked. And then you can collect as many clearing offers as you wish. So you could be phoning up, emailing, live chatting 10, 20 universities if you've got very quick hands, and just talking to them and collecting all those offers up. The key is you can't refer yourself to a university until 3 p.m. on the 13th of August. So the idea is that you're collecting all of these clearing offers up until 3 p.m. and then you can decide which university from then that you would like to go to. And from that point on, you can refer yourself using Youcast Track to that university. I'll come back to clearing in a second. Some students, for whatever reason, every year, for personal reasons, decide that this isn't the time for them and they choose to withdraw. And when you withdraw from a university, it's really important to note that's not the same as going into clearing, sort of being released into clearing. So there's a little bit of a distinction there. Withdrawing means that you've taken yourself out of the 2020 admissions cycle, and probably you're looking to make a fresh application the following 2021 cycle. And just another point, this year, like every year, there are students that do slightly worse than they were anticipating, and then hopefully in some cases there's people that feel that they've done much better than they expected. There is something called Youcast adjustment, and if you meet and exceed, and the key to this is exceed the offer that you got from the university you're with. So if the offer is 3 Bs and you get 3 As, you can refer yourself via adjustment to universities. But the important thing to note here is you must call up, just like you would in clearing, to say to that university, have you got places? I've got 3 As. Could I possibly come to you? They'd take the details, they'd send you an offer email probably, and then you can refer yourself. Now, I've talked about this as if you are in clearing already, but there is no doubt that there will be some students this summer, like every summer, who have been accepted by a university and they want to perhaps do a bit of shopping and look for an alternative university. You can do it in exactly the same way. So you can phone, you can email, you can live chat as many universities as you like. You can collect as many clearing offers as you like. And then there's something called decline my place or self-release. And when it comes up to 3 p.m, let's say you've got your next dream university offer, you could release yourself through decline my place. You can do that at any time and then refer yourself through to the next university. The key to this is you've got to think really long and hard about whether or not you want to decline your place, because once you've done it, it means that you are effectively in clearing. You won't go to your insurance choice, you've lost your firm choice, and indeed they might fill that place with another clearing student. So it's not to be taken lightly, that decision, but it is a way to swiftly get you from one university to another. If, though, you want to change course at the university you've been accepted to, do not self-release or decline your place. Phone up the university, because the likelihood is they can switch it for you if you meet the conditions for that alternative course, and it means that any scholarships or accommodation, anything like that, all your details are still with that university. So there's a little bit of a distinction there for you. So I think I've taken you through all the sorts of variants that could happen on clearing, but I will just take you on to the next slide and just sort of reiterate some of the things that could happen, and then I'll look, I'll see what questions we've got. So I'm sure there's loads being posted, but do start to post up. So I'm sure some of you know, but some of you may not, that all the universities get your A-level results prior to you, so prior to the 13th of August. And that's where we can exercise all of that flexibility. So we tend to get them 4 or 5 days before you. Obviously, they're under embargo, so no university can discuss this with you or your teacher or anybody. They're handled confidentially. But again, to reassure you that we are spending a lot of our time really thinking about each application. And the first thing that we'll do is not only look at the results, but we do look again at your personal statement, your references, and we're able to, make those decisions, particularly around subject criteria. So let's say you've applied to maths or history, and you've got a really good grade in the history A-level or the maths A-level for each of those prospective courses. We might say, well, they didn't do so well on the other 2 subjects, but we can see that they have done well in the course that their subject they're interested in studying at the university, and on that basis, let's still accept them. So all those kind of discussions are happening. We can also, we also spend that time uploading all of the decisions onto Track, with the aim that you can then open it up at 8 AM on results day. Clearing vacancies change all the time. So it's really important to keep an eye on them. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're worrying about the fact that you haven't got into one university, don't waste time necessarily on thinking, I won't look at clearing until I've resolved this with the university. Do keep an eye on the vacancies, and do start to make those contacts with them to see if you can get an alternative place. Clearing vacancies will probably, there'll probably be a lot more open for longer this year, is my feeling, but nevertheless there are always some popular subject choices in popular universities where there might just be a few vacancies available, and they might go quite quickly. So that Thursday, if that's your results day, is really key. I've talked about the self-release option or decline yourself option. You can do that at any point, at any time. There's no restriction to that, other than you must be unconditional firm, so fully accepted by the university you're originally looking at. And then we've got to accept an offer, you refer yourself to the university on Track. So once you've got all of your clearing offers and you make a decision, you can refer yourself. You just literally put in the course name, you pick it from a pick list, and then it goes off to the university. The university will then get back in touch to say, yeah, we've got you and your firm choice with us. And it can sometimes take a little bit of time. So feel free to keep in contact with the university, just check in, is it definitely there? It's often a case of just the IT between all of the different places is just running to keep up with the high levels of processing. What you should get with most offers through clearing is a time to decide. So, for example, if you get an offer from UEA on Thursday the 13th of August, we would probably say, well, you've got this offer and it's time limited, so you need to accept this offer by Monday the 17th of August. I think I've got the dates right. So that can allow you again some time to think about it. You're guaranteed your offer until that point, and many universities, including UEA, will give you the opportunity to come and visit, and even in the year that we're in, with social distancing and so on, certainly from UEA's point of view, we're still going to be offering that opportunity. So do check to see if the universities have got that for you, so you can kind of get a feel for the university before accepting an offer. UCAS have got a process called Clearing Plus. So Clearing Plus is your opportunity it's called the Applicant Hub, which you probably go onto quite a bit, but it's an opportunity from July onwards to put in your details, put in your grades, put in the kind of courses that you're interested in, and it will present to you the universities that have got vacancies in the area that you're interested in. And indeed, in some cases, if you allow it, those universities are able to reach out to you, contact you to say, we know that you've looked at us and you're interested in applying to us. Can we help you with that process? So Clearing Plus is a really good way to understand if you think you're going to be eligible for a programme. And yeah, I can't emphasize it enough. There are good courses in clearing. So bear in mind that the universities you have picked will no doubt be flexible, but at the same time, if for whatever reason things don't go to plan, there is loads of opportunity out there. So in this period now, you can start doing research. Most universities will be putting up their details in the next couple of weeks. Also, just go through your UCAS track and just make sure things like your phone number, that's a really good one, your mobile phone number and your email address are correct. Quite often, after you finish school, you might have left your school email address in. If you can just make sure that's updated, because that's often where you'll get offer emails sent to. Get your notepad out and just jot down those crucial details: GCSE results, your A-levels when they come, and your UCAS ID number. And then on the day, sit yourself down with some caffeine and a pen and paper and your technology, your laptop and so on, and just be prepared to get in touch with universities. They are really nice people on the end of the line, I promise you. Nothing to be scared about. They are all there just to help you. So don't feel that you need to feel like they're scary people that are there to say no. They are there to try and help you through the process. And yeah, do ask about things like, well, can I get a room, for example, in a guaranteed accommodation with my clearing choice? That can be a really important thing to just remember, because you might find in clearing that you don't get a room, for example, whereas you've just given up a room, a bedroom at another university that you were firm with. So there's some nice little questions that you can kind of note down. So I think at this point, I will just see if I can get to, I think we've got lots of questions. I'm going to assume that we have got some about deferrals. Here's one. Do we have to send exam grades to university, or UCAS will they send it? So let me start with that one. In the vast majority of cases, A-levels, international baccalaureates, all BTECs, we will get the exam results via UCAS. However, if you get your results through your certificates, there is absolutely no harm at all in just getting your mobile phone, taking a picture of said exams and sending them in by email. Those tend to be things like access courses or your less typical qualifications that might not have come through via UCAS. But there's no harm in sending them in if you think no decision's been made on my application. Here we go. I would like to ask whether you have to wait until 13th of August to find an alternative place if you're not happy with your firm choice. Okay, so you physically can't change places until you've got your results and you have, let me just think this through. Yeah, you would need to be unconditional firm in order to release yourself to go to an alternative place. But what you can do, and this is for Gracie, is that you can start to call up those universities and say, what are the chances that your course is going to be in clearing, and what do you think I might need in order to get there? Some universities quite often will be able to take your details in advance so that they can reach out to you on the 13th of August. But unfortunately, without your exam results, it would be hard for you to swap from your firm choice to another university now. Will the clearing choices be different to the adjustment choices? If adjustment choices are different, where will they be found on Youcast website? Okay, so they're very rarely different. In fact, most universities will publish their clearing choices and their adjustment choices, and you just see on their websites, vacancies. Adjustment tends to, put it another way, most universities think more about their clearing vacancies than they do their adjustments. So regardless of if you see different levels, just call different signals on the website, but most will display them and on Youcast as clearing vacancies and adjustment vacancies side by side. What if I miss the requirements for my firm choice, but the course is available in clearing? Would I have to apply through clearing, or will the adjustments be made automatically? Okay, so this is really interesting. I mentioned that universities are flexible in the week prior to the A-level results day. It should be the case that universities are more flexible with their firm choice students, so they'll go as low as they can on the results, but they still might have places, so they would put it into clearing. But the key is they should never put into clearing a course at levels lower than what they've accepted, because that would be really unfair. So unfortunately, if you find yourself that you've been unsuccessful in that course and you can still see them in clearing, it probably means that they're looking for students with a slightly higher grade profile. Will the university offer a guaranteed deferred place? Okay, so and can we defer instead of withdrawing from the 13th of August? So there's two questions about deferrals. In the vast majority of cases, universities will defer your place for you. So in this case to 2021. It's a tricky year for you all. I think it has to be something you really consider and balance, because for example, travel plans might be difficult to execute in the following year. But on the other hand, you might be thinking about what kind of experience I'm going to have at the university. So it's really important that you're taking into account what plans those universities have got in terms of their teaching. So at UEA, for example, we're going to be starting as normal. We're going to have accommodation, a household accommodation, and so on. And it shouldn't be too different. That said, we would defer your place. The key is that if you're deferred, you can't then make a fresh application in the Youcast system for alternative universities. You either have to withdraw and do it all again, or you just defer and you're secured in that one university. You can, of course, call that university and say, if I make a fresh application on these grades, would you make me unconditional? And that's a question that you can look at. If you have no offers or want to withdraw from your one offer, can you confirm a place through clearing on the 6th of July? If you have no offers or want to withdraw, so you would need to decline yourself, release yourself on the 6th of July. So not withdraw completely, just self-release. And as long as you've got grades, Kerry, you've got qualifications that you could be admitted on, yes, you can process and go through clearing from the 6th of July. Gracie's asked if you apply for a course where there's an interview, typically, will I still be interviewed? I can speak for UEA, which is we will have some courses, particularly in nursing, social work and so on, that will be in clearing, and we will be telephone interviewing. So on the day, you'll probably say, yep, you're eligible for your interview, and within 10, 15 minutes, you'll get a call back, or maybe on Skype, but typically it's a call on your mobile, and we'll just take you through a nice, gentle, informal but short interview so that the offer can come through to you as quickly as possible. Other universities may do the interviews on site, and they would give you an allowance of time, so that can happen. Do you opt for clearing after results day when you discover that you didn't meet your firm insurance choice? You actually, if you haven't met your firm and insurance choice, you'll find yourself in clearing. So you don't need to opt in, you're already in it. So you can start from 8 AM looking for those places. Let's see what else. Do I have to let my firm know if I want to go through adjustment? No, you have a button that you can press on Youcast Track that allows you to put yourself in adjustment for 5 days. The university that you're at can see it. And if you, for whatever reason, decide you don't want to take up an adjustment place, it just defaults back to the university that you've chose as your firm. At no point will you lose that place. If I have an unconditional offer but do better than expected on the results day and no longer want to go to this university, when I decline this offer, do I get the option to go to my insurance choice, or do I get released into clearing? So you wouldn't go to your insurance, you would release, decline yourself, and you go directly into clearing. So it's really important that you phone up that university, whether it's your insurance university, to say, can I come to you and use the clearing process? Do you think universities this year are more likely to accept slightly lower grades than required through clearing, or is it not worth the risk to self-release based on this? I absolutely think that universities will accept slightly lower, and in some cases quite a bit lower, the grades this year. So hold your nerve and wait till the 13th of August. Okay, there's somebody here who had their heart set on an apprenticeship, but unfortunately that might no longer be an option. If they want to go through clearing, they absolutely can. We call it direct into clearing, so you would need to fill out a Youcast application so that you're effectively in the process, so start a Youcast account. But most universities will be appreciative of the fact that it's hard for you to get a reference, and your personal statement all might be quite quick. So I think the key is, if you feel that's the case, you can probably start your application now, perhaps get in touch with your school. But we appreciate that it might be hard for you to produce a Youcast application in the same way that you would have done at the beginning of the cycle. But yeah, you do need to be in there. Okay, so question, what do you say to unis in clearing? You don't need to be particularly polite, as in you need to be efficient with your words. It's usually the university will help you through it, and they'll usually say, hi, what's your name? Alex. How did you get on with your results today? And you can say, I got a B in biology, C in history, and a D in economics. They'll say, what course are you interested in? And you can say biological sciences. Then they'll say, have you got your GCSEs English and maths, grade C or above? Yes. Okay, today we think we can make you an offer. We just need to take your details, and they'll ask for your email address and mobile phone number, and it's as simple as that. The alternative conversation might be, I've got B, C, D in these subjects, and they say, we're really sorry, but unfortunately we're not accepting on those grades for that course today. And you just say, okay, and you put the phone down and move on to the next one. So that's typically how a call goes. Can a uni decide who to consider as international local student if they haven't applied through student finance? So the universities can they will assist in explaining what fee status you have, i.e. if you're UK fees or international fees, but then they would encourage you to fill out your student finance as quickly as possible if you're a UK for fees purposes, so that you can get your loans and bursaries. Do you need any written proof of any offers given in clearing, or are they all on the phone? I would really urge you to get written proof. So if a university says to you, yeah, you've got a place, what they should be saying is, and we will follow up with an email confirmation of that offer. And as I say, quite often they'll put a time limit on that. Okay, one specific thing for UEA, do you think the medicine with the gateway year will be available on results day, including UEA? Sadly at UEA, I don't think our medicine with a gateway course will be in clearing. In fact, I can pretty much tell you now that the courses I think that won't be in clearing for UEA are midwifery, physiotherapy, and medicine. That is, as it stands. Do I think other universities might have places? Possibly. So it's definitely worth putting that onto your searches in Youcast for the foundation years and the medicine programmes. Will there be new clearing places available on the 13th that are not there on the 6th of July? Again, yes. It's a movable feast, and sure, it could be that a university decides after the A-level results that actually they can take another 20 students in the psychology subject, for example. So they might well put those vacancies up after that date. If we want to defer our place for next year, do we ring on results day to the university? Probably that's the quickest and simplest way to do it, yes. And the sooner you do it, the better, because it means that the university can then release that space for another student. But in pretty much all cases, that university will ask you to follow up your phone call with a written email confirmation, so that there is something to say that you are wishing to move. So there's a question here about Northern Ireland and the fact that there aren't any autumn resits. Yes, universities are very aware of this, and I absolutely do think that they would take that into account when looking at who they can accept. So yeah, reassurance for you there. So you said that universities may accept slightly lower offers this year. Do you think this would be true of dentistry and medicine? Yes, it potentially is. As mentioned before, those universities have those courses have quite strict number quotas. So it's really important that they fill those places, and it sometimes means that they can be flexible, but it typically is less flexible than it would be for those sort of other courses that I mentioned. How long typically will it take for an email confirmation to come through of your offer? Well, based on last year at UEA, we were getting the from phone call to offer email sent out on A-level results day, we were doing that within 16 minutes. And that was at peak time. So it's pretty quick, but that's not necessarily typical of all universities. It might be a bit slower. But it should be, at the very least within an hour. And if you are waiting and you're not hearing from them, do get back in touch with them. Can you still go through clearing if you have an offer? Absolutely. If you've got a confirmed place, you can still shop around. But I would say, on the flip side, I do hope that students on the whole are happy with the place that they've been accepted at, and do stay where they originally chose. I'm not happy with my results and then choose to withdraw and retake my exams in the 2021 cycle. Would there be any stigma especially from the Russell groups, that I've had another year to study, as I know that before results from resits were not always accepted. So no, there absolutely should not be any stigma or any issue in you taking your retakes for another year. However, there are sometimes some courses at some universities that have what I would call a resit policy. So it's really important that you go to the university course page for any course that you're thinking about when you're looking at resits to see if they have any specific conditions. Typically, no, there's no problem with that. But yeah, just where it's ultra competitive, then yeah, do just check. If lots of people choose to defer, will it affect Year 12 students? Potentially, yes. Obviously, the more students that defer from this year means that there are less places in the system for the following year. So I think it's really, I think from my point of view, it's really important that, you know, we make, from a university's point of view, we make the experience and your course as engaging as it always would be in any other year, so that doesn't necessarily become a widespread situation, but the universities will manage it. If I get a place through clearing and confirm adjustment, what does that mean for accommodation? Do double check if your offer, your clearing offer or your adjustment offer comes with guaranteed accommodation. They might ask you to fill out a form to take your accommodation choice, and often through clearing and adjustment you might have more limited options, but yeah, do just check. What have we got here? If I decide to defer but then change my mind, can I reverse my decision and start uni in September 2020? Yes, in the vast majority of cases, yes. In fact, interestingly, at UEA, we've had more students defer back this year than any other year in a long time, particularly in the health sciences. Pleased to say that a lot of the students wanted to get in and out, graduate, so that they can help with the pandemic. I think the longer you leave it, just be aware that, you know, universities might run out of spaces. Is it better to take a gap year and write a better personal statement, or defer with the uni unfirmed? Well, you could kind of do both. So to hedge your bets, you could defer with the university and then do some more research and then contact that university to say, if I reapply, can I still get an unconditional place from you? And then you'd need to withdraw and reapply in the next cycle. Another question, will there be less international students this year due to the pandemic? Unfortunately, I suspect yes, there will be less international students. I think that there's been such a sort of global shock to the system that it's inevitable that we will see less students travelling around, which is sad, because it means that, you know, what are usually really vibrant communities with lots of nationalities, we might just see a little bit less of that this year. Not too much. There are still some international students absolutely ready and able to come this September, but I suspect it might not be as many as in previous years. What happens with student finance if you've been awarded an amount for London but go to a non-London university? So all you would do is just go into your application with Student Finance England. You would then change your university choice, and then Student Finance England will they'll automatically recalculate your amounts. I'm conscious I'm coming up to 3 minutes, and I've probably been darting around this, so I do apologise if I have not answered your questions. do you think entry requirements will be higher next year due to demand on places and the number of deferrals? Also, is your university going to limit the number of deferrals? So as it stands, we're not limiting the number of deferrals at UEA. But I would suggest to the student that they think carefully about why they're making that deferral. The entry requirements may be higher. Well, in fact, some of our courses are going to have higher entry requirements, but they were set prior to COVID. What I would say, though, is that for students, Year 12 students, and indeed GCSE students, we understand that this isn't 1 year of disruption. This will affect quite a few years of students going through the system. So, we absolutely do treat people as individuals with, varying personal circumstances, and would want to make sure that we can be flexible and work with them in a personalised way. Certainly at UEA we would. Okay, let's see if I think I can see, luckily, some of these have been answered, which is fantastic. I'm currently in Year 12 and I'm not able to do my AS exams, but I do feel that my predicted grades will reflect my actual better grades that I wouldn't have achieved. How will this affect my university choices for Oxford? If memory serves me right, they don't use AS grades, but I do not feel that my predicted grades will reflect my actual better grades that I would have achieved. I think the best thing for you to do there is to speak to your college when you get back, in terms of submitting your application for the 15th of October deadline, and it might be that you have to contact Oxford just to double check on that. Sorry, I better make sure that I don't speak on their behalf, in case I get it slightly wrong. I think I'm going to draw it to a close. I hope that I've answered the vast majority, and I'm going to hand back to Megan now, and then see, hopefully Megan's there, just to bring to a close the webinar. But thank you so much for spending the time with me today. It's brilliant questions, and I really hope that, although you've had difficulties, you haven't been able to celebrate with your classmates, finishing college, and that during August, the universities are there for you so that we can all celebrate your results, and indeed you starting your new course.
Thank you very much, Alex. That was brilliant. You answered so many questions as well. So I hope that if you had any questions, that Alex managed to answer them for you. If you do have anything else that you'd like to ask Alex, feel free to head over to the UEA website, and I'm sure you'll be able to find contact details and lots more information about their clearing, adjustment and deferral policies on there as well. We also have lots of blogs available on the UK University Search website about clearing. So if you'd like to go over there and have a little look, there's lots of tips for you as well. As I mentioned earlier today, we are having another webinar for those of you looking to start in September 2020 next week. And this one's going to be all about what student life is going to be like this year. So we'll be looking at moving to university, we'll be looking at Freshers Week, what your courses might look like in terms of going into seminars and lectures, or maybe doing some online learning. And we'll also be looking at the classic stuff about going to university, like joining societies, getting on with your new housemates, and those types of things. So be sure to join us next week. If you're watching on YouTube, just hit subscribe and press the bell button, and you'll receive a notification when we go live next Wednesday at 12. Or you can head to our website, www.ukuniversitysearch.com, and click on the purple webinars button at the top, and that will show you all of our upcoming webinars. As I mentioned earlier as well, our virtual fair is still open until the 17th of July. UEA have a stand there, as well as over 100 different universities, colleges and training providers. So if you wanted to have a log on, it's completely free. You can download different resources, prospectuses, and follow links through to websites there as well. That's ukuniversitysearch.vfairs.com. Okay, thank you very much to Alex today. That was a really fantastic presentation. If you want to view it again or view any of the slides, the live stream is always available on our YouTube channel, so head over there if you'd like to have another look. And from me and all the whole UK University Search team, thank you very much for watching and have a lovely day.